Many species cannot survive in captivity. Their lives depend on vast territories, precise diets, complex social bonds, or climates we cannot reproduce. When we confine them, stress, disease, and puzzling behaviors often follow. Some lives were never meant for cages. In this video, we reveal the remarkable species that fail to adapt to life behind bars and explain why freedom is not only humane, but essential. Number 12. Great white sharks born to roam. White sharks are hunters of the open sea, made to move without end. Great white sharks provide a clear example of animals that cannot live behind glass. They are built to travel thousands of miles. The ocean's endless horizons are essential to how they live. Confined to a closed space, they become stressed and depressed. They stop eating and refuse food offered by keepers. Their wild diet includes fast, live prey, and marine mammals. They do not accept dead fish tossed into a pool. A great white cannot remain still. It breathes by swimming. Water must flow over its gills as it moves. Unlike many fish, it cannot pump water through its gills while resting. In a tank, the shark cannot sustain the constant, powerful swimming it needs. When it slows, it struggles to breathe. Its senses make captivity worse. Along the shark's snout are tiny organs that detect faint electrical signals in the water. In the wild, this ability helps it find prey. In a tank, however, metal, pumps, lights, and even the walls create strange electrical noise. This confusion feels like severe dizziness. Sharks often crash into the glass, breaking their noses and injuring themselves. Aquariums have tried for decades. When some succeeded for a short time, the results were heartbreaking. Sharks refused food, became aggressive, or died within days or months. One notable case lasted 198 days, but the shark grew aggressive and had to be released. These attempts reveal a simple truth. Great white sharks need the ocean in ways a tank cannot provide. Keeping them in captivity is not just difficult, it is cruel. Their bodies, senses, and minds are made for an endless moving world. For them, a glass wall is not a window, but a trap. Number 11. Narwhals, built for the wild. Narwhals live in the far Arctic and are built for long, deep dives and a life beneath thick ice. They need vast, cold oceans to find food and to navigate using their echosense. When people once tried to keep them in tanks, the results were tragic and quick. In 1969, the New York Aquarium brought a young narwhal to Coney Island. He grew distressed in the new environment and stopped eating. Within weeks, he died of pneumonia. A year later, the Vancouver Aquarium captured 6 wild narwhals, including 3 calves. Despite great public excitement, all 6 animals died within 1 to 4 months. The public reacted with shock and anger. Those failures reveal why narwhals cannot live in captivity. Their famous tusk is actually a tooth turned inside out and is packed with about 10 million nerve endings. It is a powerful sensory organ that detects tiny changes in water temperature, pressure, and chemistry. In a small, echoing tank, that sensitivity becomes overwhelming. The tusk and the narwhal's other senses are overloaded or harmed by walls, lights, and artificial sounds. Narwhals also depend on echolocation to move and hunt beneath ice. Human-made noise, pumps, filters, and loud crowds scrambles their senses. Confined in tanks, narwhals often refuse to eat, become disoriented, and experience severe stress. Stress weakens their immune systems, making infections deadly. Their natural behavior includes dives deeper than 800 meters and long periods underwater, patterns no aquarium can reproduce. Because of these biological realities and a growing awareness of animal welfare, scientists and aquariums stopped trying to keep narwhals for display. The stories from New York and Vancouver serve as a strong reminder that some animals belong only in the wild, where the ocean's vastness supports their extraordinary lives. Number 10. Pangolins, fragile lives, not pets. Pangolins are one of the loneliest success stories of nature and also one of the hardest animals for people to help. Over the years, more than 100 zoos and research centers have tried to keep pangolins alive in captivity. Most of those attempts failed. Many pangolins die within months, and some studies put the first-year death rate as high as 70%. Why is keeping pangolins so difficult? In the wild, a single adult pangolin eats millions of ants and termites every year. It finds the right insect nests by smell and uses a long, sticky tongue shaped by millions of years of evolution to pull the insects out. In captivity, the food situation changes. Pangolins often refuse substitutes and will sometimes starve instead of eating unfamiliar insects. Pangolins are solitary and mostly active at night. They do not cope well with people, bright lights, or noise. The stress of being captured or living near humans can cause severe physical decline. They can develop ulcers and digestive problems, stop drinking, and become too weak to recover. Many pangolins that reach rescue centers have already been through terrible ordeals such as trafficking, dehydration, and injuries. and they arrive too damaged to bounce back. There have been a few careful successes. A small number of institutions have used dietary engineering and very strict quiet care to keep pangolins alive. The Taipei Zoo, for example, showed that with the right team and resources, pangolins can survive longer in human care. Some exhibits now exist mainly to educate people and support wild conservation rather than to encourage keeping pangolins as pets. Even so, conservationists warn that pangolins do not belong as pets or in ordinary zoo enclosures. Their best chance is a world where people stop hunting and trafficking them, and where their forests and grasslands are protected. For pangolins, freedom from poachers and safe habitats rather than captivity offer the truest hope for survival. Number 9. Indri lemurs, the Indri's song and struggle. Indri lemurs live only in the rainforests of eastern Madagascar. They are large, black and white primates with a voice like a whale's song. Despite their beauty and fame, Indri cannot live in captivity. No zoo or sanctuary has ever kept one alive for long outside its homeland. People who tried to move Indri from the wild found the same sad pattern. The animals died, often within months. Because every attempt failed, there are no captive breeding programs or backup populations to protect the species. The Indri's survival depends entirely on the forests where it evolved. Several factors make Indris impossible to keep in human care. First, their diet is highly specialized. Indris eats certain fresh leaves, seeds, and flowers that grow only in mature Malagasy rainforests. Food substitutes offered in captivity cause dangerous digestive problems. Second, their gut health is tied to the forest itself. Indris have unique gut microbes that come from the soil and plants they eat in the wild. Scientists say this microbiome cannot be recreated in an artificial setting. Third, Indris are strictly arboreal. They live and move high in the tree canopy, making long vertical leaps between trunks. They will not cross open ground. In enclosures without a continuous canopy, they suffer severe physical and mental stress. Finally, their social life is very specific. Indri families are tightly bonded, often monogamous and matriarchal, and they use loud, haunting songs to mark territory and keep family ties strong. Forcing unrelated animals together or changing their social structure breaks these bonds and causes more harm. Because captive breeding is not an option, saving the Indri means protecting its forest home in Madagascar. Conserving and restoring habitat, supporting local communities, and stopping deforestation are the only ways to give this fragile primate a future. Number 8. Leopard seal, ghosts of the ice. The Antarctic is a place of icy wind and endless sea. Here lives one of the ocean's most powerful and solitary hunters, the leopard seal. From a distance, it looks like a large seal with a long head and a wide mouth. Up close, you notice the teeth, sharp and unusual, built for catching fast prey. Leopard seals are made for the wild. Young seals eat tiny animals called krill, but adults become serious carnivores. They hunt penguins and even other seals. Imagine trying to feed that every day in a zoo. You would need a steady supply of live, whole animals, which is expensive and difficult to manage. It is also cruel to offer the same hunting challenge they get in the wild. Their bodies are specially shaped for the cold, open ocean. Their teeth do two jobs. They catch quick prey and help filter small food. Scientists have studied how they eat, and keeping them healthy requires precise feeding methods. A tank cannot give a leopard seal the same space, temperature, or hunting chances that the Antarctic provides. They are also loners. They are territorial and can become very aggressive when stressed. In a small, closed space, they are dangerous to the people who care for them. Providing mental enrichment, which means giving them the challenges they need, is almost impossible in captivity. For all these reasons, leopard seals do not live permanently in zoos or aquariums. There have been rare exceptions. When injured or sick, some leopard seals have been rescued and treated temporarily. One well-known story is Casey, a thin, wounded leopard seal who washed ashore near Sydney. Staff at Taronga Zoo cared for Casey for a short time. Even then, the goal was always to return the animal to the wild. No zoo in the world keeps leopard seals as permanent residents. In short, leopard seals belong to the vast, cold ocean. Their needs for food, space, and freedom make permanent captivity impractical and unsafe. They are a reminder that some animals are meant to be seen in their natural world and not behind glass. Number 7. Blue whales, titans of the sea. Blue whales are rulers of the ocean, living legends too vast for any cage. They are so enormous that keeping one in a tank is simply impossible. People have kept smaller whales and dolphins in aquariums. But a blue whale has never been held in captivity. Any attempt to force one into confinement would end in tragedy. An adult blue whale can reach nearly 100 feet in length and weigh almost 200 tons. Its tongue can weigh as much as an elephant. and its heart is the size of a small car. No building or tank on Earth could offer the space this living giant needs. Even the largest aquarium would not let a whale turn around or move with dignity. Blue whales consume staggering amounts of food. Each day they can eat about 4 tons of tiny shrimp like animals called krill. They feed by charging through the water, opening their cavernous mouths and gulping entire swarms. This dramatic feeding ritual needs the wide, rolling ocean and cannot be copied in a closed tank. These whales roam the seas like nomads. They travel thousands of miles between icy feeding grounds near the poles and warm breeding lagoons nearer the equator. They dive deeply, often around 100 meters, and sometimes far deeper. To lock them in shallow artificial water is to strip away everything that makes them whole. It causes deep psychological harm and suffering. A blue whale's body is shaped by the embrace of the ocean. If removed from water for transport, its own immense weight would crush its organs and bones. Even a newborn calf arrives at birth weighing about 2.5 tons and grows at an astonishing pace. That size makes any long-term rescue in captivity impossible. Because blue whales cannot live in tanks, our only hope to save them lies in protecting the vast seas they roam. Preserving their feeding grounds and migration routes keeps these gentle titans alive and free in the only home that can hold them. Number 6. Platypuses, secrets of a river icon. The platypus is one of nature's mysteries, an animal that seems almost made for the wild. In Australia, it lives along rivers and creeks, hunting quietly underwater. People soon learned that keeping platypuses in cages or tanks is nearly impossible. First, they eat a lot and are selective. A platypus needs about 1/5 of its body weight in food each day. It eats only live aquatic creatures such as small worms, insect larvae, and crayfish. Reproducing that diet in captivity is difficult and expensive, and if their food is wrong, they quickly lose health. Platypuses are also solitary and highly sensitive to change. Moving one even a short distance can cause severe stress and sometimes death. That is why most countries do not allow them to be exported, and why they are legally protected throughout Australia. They need space as well. A single platypus will range over a kilometer or more in the wild and depends on large, clean waterways with steady currents. Typical zoo enclosures rarely provide enough room or the proper water quality. Male platypuses have another unexpected feature: sharp ankle spurs that deliver venom. The sting is not usually fatal to humans, but causes intense pain that can last for weeks. That makes handling them risky. Finally, breeding platypuses in captivity is extremely difficult. Their reproductive cycle is complex, with a short gestation followed by an extended lactation period in a carefully built burrow. Because of these challenges, only a small number of Australian sanctuaries and zoos are permitted and equipped to care for them. Outside Australia, there are almost no places they can live, one notable exception being the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, which succeeded in bringing platypuses there in 2019. All these needs, special food, sensitivity to stress, large territories, complicated breeding, and venomous spurs, add up. The platypus belongs to the river and the wild, not to cages. Number 5. Pink fairy armadillos, sand swimmers. The pink fairy armadillo is the smallest armadillo in the world. It grows to only about 6 inches long and weighs around 100 grams. It lives on the dry, sandy plains of central Argentina and spends almost its entire life beneath the surface, moving like a tiny submarine through loose sand. These armadillos are built for life underground. They have large front claws that let them dig quickly through sand and twisty burrows. Their underground tunnels keep their body temperature steady and suit their very low metabolism. They eat ants, larvae, and other small insects. Their food in the wild is a specific mix that is almost impossible to reproduce exactly in captivity. Removing a pink fairy armadillo from the wild is almost always fatal. About 95% of animals taken from their natural habitat die within 8 days. Many do not survive the trip to a captive place. Historically, none have lived in captivity for more than 4 years. They are extremely fragile and react badly to small changes. Stress, shifts in temperature, or different humidity levels can quickly kill them. A few researchers have had short, rare successes. One male lived for 8 months in an artificial setup. That success depended on a careful, stable environment. Compact sand, plenty of hiding places at the surface, and constant observation with infrared cameras. Because these animals are so hard to find and study in the wild, these temporary enclosures are the main way scientists learn about them. Even so, keeping pink fairy armadillos in captivity remains nearly impossible. Number 4. Colossal Squids, Ghost of the Abyss. The colossal squid is a creature of the deep that human hands cannot tame. It lives in the dark, freezing waters of the Southern Ocean, far below the reach of sunlight. Scientists find them at depths of around 1,000 meters or more. Those depths press the squid's soft body into the shape it needs to survive. Pull a colossal squid toward the surface and its world ends. The huge drop in pressure changes the squid's chemistry and damages its organs. Eyes that evolved for the deep, muscles made for constant swimming, and tissues built to resist crushing forces all fail when exposed to air and shallow water. Most attempts to keep them captive would end almost immediately in death. Colossal squids are built to keep moving through the open ocean. They are pelagic and always swim forward. Unlike reef octopuses that hide in rocks, a squid cannot comprehend walls. Place one in a glass tank, and it will keep jetting forward until it hits the barrier. That repeated crashing would injure its delicate head and mantle and soon cause fatal trauma. Size makes captivity even more impossible. An adult can weigh more than 500 kilograms and stretch as long as a small bus. To house one would require a pressurized tank large enough for its whole body, kept at near freezing Antarctic temperatures. Building and operating such a tank with stable deep sea pressure and cold is beyond today's technology. Even catching a live, healthy, colossal squid is nearly unthinkable. The few live encounters we have come from dying animals that floated up or from young squid hauled up accidentally in deep trawls. These squid are fragile. Netting, handling, or the rough motion of a ship tank can cause lethal stress and skin damage. Because we cannot keep them alive, our knowledge comes from rare remotely operated vehicle footage and museum specimens. The best-known display is at the Museum of New Zealand Te Papa Tongarewa. Until we learn to recreate the deep ocean exactly, the colossal squid will remain a ghost of the abyss, seen briefly, understood a little, and never kept. Number 3. Javan rhinoceroses, vanishing giants. The Javan rhinoceros is a mystery of the wild. For more than a century, no Javan rhino has lived and reproduced in captivity. Today, there are only about 75 animals left, and they all live in one place, Ujung Kulon National Park on the island of Java in Indonesia. These rhinos are picky eaters. They browse on a wide mix of fresh leaves, young shoots, and fallen fruit found only in their rainforest home. That exact menu and the moist forest they rely on are hard to copy in a zoo or park. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, rhinos kept in zoos rarely lived long. They usually survived only 10 to 20 years, while wild rhinos can live 30 to 45 years. In captivity, they fell ill easily and suffered from stress. Javan rhinos are also very shy and need large, quiet areas to roam. They avoid people and do not do well in crowded or noisy settings. Breeding in captivity has failed many times because it is nearly impossible to give them the space and conditions they need to pair and mate. Because past attempts failed and because closely related species such as the Sumatran rhino also struggled in zoos, scientists and conservationists now agree it is too risky to remove Javan rhinos from the wild. Instead, efforts focus on protecting and restoring their habitat, for example, removing invasive plants so native food plants can grow, and on strict anti-poaching patrols. These measures aim to keep the last Javan rhinos safe where they belong in the wild. Number 2. Leatherback, the ocean's traveler. The ocean remembers the leatherback. From the moment a hatchling slips into the surf, it belongs to the endless blue. Leatherback sea turtles are not made for walls, tanks, or the small comforts humans build. They were shaped by millions of years of open water, and every part of them says go. Leatherbacks live on the move. They swim without stopping, crossing whole ocean basins and following blooms of jellyfish. Unlike many animals, they never learn to swim backward. They do not recognize hard boundaries. Place one in a regular aquarium, and it will keep pushing forward until it hurts itself on the glass. Long ago, researchers who tried to keep young leatherbacks had to suspend them in soft harnesses in the middle of tanks, like placing a baby in a bouncy seat just to stop them from slamming into the walls. Their bodies match their diet. Leatherbacks are specialist jelly feeders. Their throats are lined with backward-facing spikes that help them swallow slippery, gelatinous prey. Feed them the wrong food, such as common fish or standard turtle diets, and the turtles suffer deadly gut problems. Scientists have had to create unusual, soft squid-based jellies to imitate the leatherback's natural meals. Because leatherbacks roam so far and keep moving, they do not thrive in captivity. They often injure themselves, fall ill from improper diets, or die within weeks or months. That makes it nearly impossible to raise them to adulthood in human care. As a result, researchers cannot use the usual captive head start programs that help other sea turtles and endangered animals. Conservation efforts focus on protecting the wild, protecting beaches, reducing fishing bycatch, cutting plastic pollution, and keeping the open ocean healthy are the actions most likely to help leatherbacks. You cannot put the ocean into a tank. To help this ancient traveler, we must protect the vast moving home it was born to roam. Number 1. Saola, the Asian unicorn. The Saola is one of the rarest and most mysterious animals on Earth. People call it the Asian unicorn. It lives deep in the wet green forests of the Annamite Mountains in Southeast Asia. Scientists only learned about the Saola in 1992. Even now, we know very little about how it lives in the wild. The Saola cannot live in zoos or animal centers. When people tried to keep Saola in captivity, the animals quickly grew weak and died. They are very sensitive to stress. Even careful, well-meaning keepers could not stop them from dying within weeks or months. The Saola's body reacts badly to being moved or confined. Part of the problem is their diet. Saola eat many different leaves, ferns, and plants that grow along rivers in their forest home. These plants are hard to find outside that place. Zoos cannot copy that varied natural menu. Without the right food, Saola becomes sick. We also do not understand enough about where Saola roam or how they behave. Scientists have rarely seen them in the wild, and no biologist has watched one for long. Because of this, people have been unable to design enclosures that do not frighten or harm them. The Saola is listed as critically endangered. There may be fewer than 50 or perhaps a few hundred left in the wild. Wire snares set for other animals and loss of forest are the main dangers. Because Saola do not survive in captivity, the only real hope is to protect them where they live. Conservation work must happen in the forests themselves. Organizations such as the Saola Foundation are searching for the last Saola. They are trying to track them and learn more. Their plan includes building special conservation centers in the Saola's own habitat. These centers would support wild populations without forcing the animals into ordinary captivity. Saving the Saola is a race against time. Their story shows how some animals depend so closely on a place and a way of life that taking them out of that world destroys them. Protecting their forest home is the only way to keep the Asian unicorn alive.